Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's not a man's actions, it's not his money, not even his looks that make a woman restless, but a single sentence? One line, spoken with calm certainty, can do more than months of effort. That's the mystery most men never understand. Words are powerful, but only when they come from a man who doesn't waste them. Most men talk too much. They over-explain, over-compliment, and try too hard. Women expect it, and because it's expected, it has no impact. But the man who knows when to be silent and speaks only when his words matter, that man feels rare. Seneca wrote, "It is quality rather than quantity that matters." A man who speaks with restraint makes his words cut deeper. His silence builds tension, and when he finally speaks, his voice carries weight. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events."
Alex.
Silence proves that power. It shows you are not rushing to fill space, not begging to be heard. You are in command of yourself. I once saw a man in a cafe with a woman expecting flattery and small talk. He hardly spoke. Then calmly, he leaned forward and delivered one line. Her body language changed instantly. She leaned in, eyes locked, as if the world had gone quiet. Scarcity made his words priceless. Epictetus warned, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." Women drown in chatter, but they crave the one voice that feels steady and unshaken. It's not about saying more. It's about saying less with purpose. When your words are scarce, they echo long after the moment has passed. Women often test men. They push, withdraw, stir drama, just to see if you'll break. Most men do. They explain, defend, beg, and the moment they do, their power disappears. Attraction fades. But the man who stands firm, who refuses to play games, he becomes unforgettable. I've seen it. A woman pulling away, expecting panic. Instead, the man stayed calm, steady, and said, "That doesn't work on me." Instantly, the frame flipped. She felt exposed, and he became the one testing her. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you show her that her tricks don't shake you, you rise above 99% of men. You go from being her toy to her challenge, and that challenge makes her obsessed." Another phrase cuts even deeper. "I don't chase what isn't mine." To a woman, those words stab pride and spark desire. Suddenly, she feels the risk of losing you. Instead of relaxing, she begins to chase, restless to prove she belongs. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind." A man who embodies this truth shows restraint. He does not beg for approval. He lives with clarity. And that clarity makes women surrender their games because they see he cannot be moved. True strength is not loud. It is calm, steady, and unshakable. Nothing unsettles a woman more than when the man she expects to chase her suddenly steps back. She ignores his text, acts distant, waiting for him to fold. Most men panic, double text, call again. But the rare man who leans back, calm and steady, and says, "I think you need space. I'll let you take it." That man shifts the entire game. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." The man who can walk away without fear of loss is truly free. His value rises because he shows he is not desperate. He reminds her that he is the prize, not a pursuer. I recall a man who responded this way when tested. Instead of pleading, he calmly gave her the space she demanded. Suddenly, the power she thought she held slipped away. Fear replaced confidence, because deep down, every woman knows the man willing to lose her is the man she cannot afford to lose. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." By stepping back with dignity, a man proves both truth and strength. His silence becomes louder than any words, and it forces her to face a reality she tried to avoid. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. And clarity is what makes a man unforgettable. Women don't obsess over men who need them. Desire without dependence, that's what creates obsession. A man who can say calmly, "I want you, but I don't need you," shows strength that unsettles a woman's pride, yet ignites her desire. Seneca said, "If you would be loved, love. but love and weakness become slavery. Love with strength, when without need creates balance. It tells her, you choose her, but your life does not depend on her. I remember a moment when a man said those exact words. The woman's pulse quickened, her face flushed, because she realized he could walk away at any time. That paradox, want mixed with freedom, makes women chase harder than they intended. Another phrase cuts deep. My attention isn't free. You have to earn it. When a man gives endless attention, it loses value. But when he makes it scarce, women compete fiercely to win it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." A man who values his attention proves his worth through discipline, and women respond with hunger to be noticed. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the right to live as we wish." A man free from need, free from begging, becomes magnetic. He transforms from seeker to prize, and women cannot resist chasing what feels rare. Women love to believe they are the prize. They hint at other men, expecting you to compete. Most men fold, chasing harder and giving away power. But the man who calmly says, "I don't compete for women. Women compete for me," flips the script. Suddenly, she's no longer the judge, she's the contestant. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." A man who refuses to fight for validation shows mastery. His calm presence makes her question her worth, and her desire grows stronger. I once witnessed a woman boast about her options. Instead of defending himself, the man leaned back and delivered that one line. Her confidence cracked, and in that moment, she fought to hold his attention. His refusal to lower himself made him untouchable. Boundaries are equally powerful. When a man says, "Disrespect me once, I'm gone," he shows he values dignity above desire. Seneca said, "He who does not prevent a sin when he can, encourages it." The man who enforces boundaries proves he will not tolerate disrespect. That respect becomes irresistible. Marcus Aurelius reminded, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A man who holds that truth does not collapse under tests. He sets the terms. He makes it clear, he is the throne, not the pursuer. The man who truly unsettles a woman is not the one who shouts, begs, or cheats. It is the man who can look her in the eye and say, "I'd rather be alone than with the wrong woman." That single line shatters her pride, because suddenly he is not chasing her, he is rejecting her. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This is not bitterness, it's clarity." The man who would rather walk alone than compromise his values shows strength few can match. I recall a woman who tested a man, pulling back and acting cold. Instead of chasing, he smiled faintly and spoke those words. Her heart sank. For the first time, she felt she was the one not measuring up. Nothing cuts deeper than realizing a man does not need you at all. Epictetus reminded, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A man who desires truth more than company, who values peace over approval, becomes rare. And rarity is what women cannot resist. Seneca said, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." The man who can walk away with dignity, who fears nothing, not even loneliness, is unforgettable. His independence forces her to chase not just his attention, but his approval. Women often use emotions as weapon stares, silence, coldness, to gain control. Most men rush to explain or defend, and in that moment, they surrender power. But the man who reflects, instead of reacting, flips the frame. He stays calm, looks her in the eye, and says, "You feel cornered right now, don't you?" Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." By refusing to be pulled into her storm, a man proves mastery of himself. She expects weakness, but he shows clarity, and suddenly she feels exposed. I remember a moment when a woman lashed out at a man, hoping he'd apologize. Instead, he calmly mirrored her emotion back. Her act collapsed. She realized he saw through the mask, straight to the fear beneath. That exposure made her powerless. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By reflecting her emotions instead of absorbing them, you strip away her control. She cannot dominate you. Instead, she questions herself. Seneca reminded, No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. A man who treats her tests as opportunities to remain calm becomes unforgettable. His strength is not in fighting fire with fire, but in holding a mirror to her soul. Women crave explanations. They demand reasons, arguments, apologies, because every explanation feeds their control. Most men fall into this trap. But the man who sets his words like stone, who refuses to repeat himself, becomes unforgettable. Calmly he says, "I don't explain myself twice, and silence does the rest." Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not true, do not say it. If it is not right, do not do it." A man who speaks once with clarity and never justifies himself again lives this wisdom. She may rage, question, or guilt trip, but his silence makes her spiral. I recall a woman pressing a man for answers again and again. Instead of bending, he remained calm. The more she pushed, the more her confidence cracked. His restraint made her restless, replaying his words long after he left. That silence was more powerful than any explanation. Epictetus taught, "If someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself against their words, but reply, 'You must not know me well.' True strength lies in refusing to argue. When a man stays firm, he proves he is anchored in himself, not in her approval." Seneca wrote, "Self-command is the greatest command of all." The man who values his mission above arguments makes his words rare and priceless. His legacy is clear in one line, "With or without you, I win." That truth terrifies and captivates, because it shows she is not the center of his life, he is. The men women regret losing are not those who begged or tried to keep them. They are the ones who warned with calm certainty and then walked away without looking back. A single line, "You'll miss me before I miss you," cuts deeper than silence, because it becomes true. Marcus Aurelius said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." A man who accepts loss without bitterness shows unshakable strength. He knows his worth is not tied to whether she stays or goes. I recall a woman who thought she had complete control. She played games, acted cold, but when the man calmly told her that line, she laughed until weeks later, when the truth sank in. She missed him, and he never returned. That wound never healed. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The man willing to be misunderstood for his boundaries grows stronger. He leaves her with a lesson she cannot forget. Seneca reminded, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." By showing he can thrive without her, he leaves a scar on her memory. And long after she has chosen wrong, she replays his words, haunted by what she lost. The truth is simple. Women can forget men who collapse without them, but they never forget the man who proved he could live better without them. A man's true power is not in wealth, charm, or constant pursuit. It is in his frame, his unshakable sense of self. Women don't surrender to men because of looks or money, but because of the energy of authority and calm conviction they carry. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Every phrase that leaves a man's lips should reflect this power. He does not beg, he does not fold, he does not chase. He sets reality, and women follow. I've seen men give women everything, only to be betrayed. And I've seen women obsess for years over the one man who walked away without looking back. Scarcity makes his words echo like thunder long after he is gone. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Most men waste their words seeking approval. The rare man speaks with purpose, and those words carve themselves into memory. Epictetus taught, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Masculine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. A man who embodies this truth leaves scars on the soul, the kind a woman cannot erase. Even if she replaces you, even if she lies to herself, at night when it's just her thoughts, your words return. Because men like you do not come back, and no weaker man will ever make her feel the same.